I think it was a good win. Alex is a great player, and I think she loves the grass, having won a title last week, so it was super tough, and I think I just hung in there on those close games and was able to distance myself just enough.
Alexandra Eala's recent run at the Queen's Club Championships is not just another match result or a simple entry in a tournament record, but actually a detailed reflection of how quickly a young tennis career can evolve when form, confidence, experience, and opportunity come together at the right time. Because in professional tennis, the surface-level story is always the scoreline, while the real story exists in the build-up of weeks, the adjustments between matches, and the invisible improvement that cannot always be captured in a single statistic. And when Eala arrived in London for the grass court swing, she was entering one of the most challenging phases of the tennis calendar on a surface that demands instant adaptation, precise timing, and aggressive decision-making under pressure, especially after a difficult clay season where early exits and inconsistent results had created external questions about her progress and long-term direction. Yet instead of letting that phase define her trajectory, she responded with a clear shift in performance as soon as the surface changed. Because grass court tennis is unique in the way it transforms the game completely with its low bounce, faster speed, shorter rallies, and reduced reaction time, forcing players to either struggle with control or evolve into a more attacking and confident version of themselves. And for Eala, it became the second path as she began to show improved footwork, sharper positioning, more decisive shot selection, and a stronger willingness to take control of rallies earlier rather than waiting for mistakes. And although these improvements did not appear fully formed in a single match, they developed gradually through repeated competition where each round added rhythm, experience, and belief, eventually leading her to one of the strongest short runs of her career, where she managed to win multiple matches across 2 tournaments in roughly 10 days, which in professional tennis is physically demanding due to the lack of recovery time and mentally challenging because grass court points require constant focus and rapid decision-making. Yet she continued to perform at a high level, improving her ranking, gaining confidence, earning significant prize money, and most importantly proving she could sustain competitive intensity across back-to-back matches against strong opposition. And what makes this run even more interesting is that her only defeats during this period came against the same opponent, Iva Jovic, a rising American player who is also quickly establishing herself as one of the most dangerous young competitors on the WTA Tour, which immediately reframes those losses not as setbacks, but as competitive encounters against an in-form opponent who has been executing at a very high level. And when they met again at Queen's Club, the match carried an added layer of familiarity because both players already understood each other's styles, strengths, and patterns, which removed any element of surprise and shifted the contest into a pure battle of execution under pressure, where Jovic from the beginning displayed exceptional serving efficiency, winning a high percentage of first serve points and immediately placing scoreboard pressure on Eala by making return games more difficult to construct. And in grass court tennis, this kind of serving dominance is often the foundation of control because it forces opponents to constantly play from behind in rallies and reduces their ability to dictate momentum, while Eala in response showed resistance, defensive resilience, and moments of strong baseline play where she extended rallies and created opportunities to break back. But the defining difference came in conversion, because although she was able to generate chances, she struggled to consistently finish them at key moments. And at elite-level tennis, especially on fast surfaces, the difference between winning and losing often comes down not to how many opportunities are created, but how efficiently those opportunities are converted into actual points and momentum swings. And in this match, Jovic demonstrated a higher level of composure in those critical situations, maintaining focus during pressure points, resetting quickly after long rallies, and slightly elevating her level whenever break points or deuce games appeared, which gradually built into a pattern of control that eventually produced a straight sets victory of 6-2, 6-2. Although even within that scoreline, the match contained multiple deuce games and extended exchanges that showed the contest was more competitive than the final result suggests. But the accumulation of small margins consistently favored Jovic, who was simply more efficient. in the decisive moments. And this also highlights her own rapid rise as a player who is becoming increasingly comfortable competing and winning at high-level WTA events. And despite the loss, Eala's overall grass court season still represents a strong upward trend rather than a decline, because within a very short span she improved her ranking significantly, captured a title, gained valuable match experience across different tournaments, and demonstrated that she can handle a dense schedule of matches on a physically demanding surface, which is often one of the key indicators of long-term growth in professional tennis. And another important aspect of this tournament was the respect shown between the two players after the match, where Jovic spoke positively about Eala's ability and even suggested that both could meet again in a WTA final in the future, which is a meaningful statement because it comes from a direct competitor who understands the level required to reach that stage. And this type of recognition highlights how Eala is viewed within the rising generation of players not as a developing outsider, but as someone already capable of reaching elite competitive levels. And beyond the match itself, the emotional and symbolic environment of Queen's Club added another layer to the story, because the return of Serena Williams to professional tennis in doubles created a rare historical moment where past greatness and current rising talent existed in the same tournament space. And for Eala, who has openly stated that she grew up watching Serena and being inspired by her dominance, this became more than just a coincidence in scheduling, because it represented a full-circle experience from childhood admiration to professional participation in the same environment as her idol, reinforcing the idea that tennis is not only about rankings and titles, but also about legacy, inspiration, and generational connection. And as she now moves forward toward upcoming grass court events, and eventually Wimbledon, the focus naturally shifts toward how she will apply everything learned during this period, because Wimbledon is not just another tournament, but the highest stage on grass, where every detail becomes magnified and every match tests both technical skill and mental resilience. And what makes Eala's current position especially compelling is that she is not simply winning or losing matches in isolation, but going through a rapid developmental phase where each week adds experience, each opponent reveals new lessons, and each result contributes to a larger upward trajectory that is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. And even though the loss at Queen's Club will appear on paper as a straight sets defeat, the broader reality shows a player who is improving, adapting, and consistently positioning herself for deeper runs in major tournaments.
Well, it's a real statement performance from Iva Jovic, who once again gets the better of her good friend Alexandra Eala, just as she did so on the Parisian clay a few weeks ago.
And this combination of learning from losses, building confidence through wins, and facing higher-level opponents in quick succession is often the exact pathway through which future top players are formed, making this stage of her career less about immediate outcomes and more about long-term construction of a competitive identity. And therefore, as Wimbledon approaches, the real question is no longer whether she belongs at this level, because that has already been demonstrated, but rather how far her current momentum, experience, and confidence can carry her when the stakes become even higher and the attention becomes even more intense, which is exactly what makes her journey one of the most closely watched developments in women's tennis right now.